Well, we think it's going to have a dramatic impact. We recently released our update of our Asian Development Outlook, which is our flagship economic publication. And we see growth in the major economic areas of Asia coming down dramatically. If we just take two countries, Indonesia and then China, the largest economy in the region. In Indonesia, we had previously projected 5% growth for 2020. We project that growth number to fall by half to 2.5% for 2020, entirely as a consequence of this crisis. If we look at China, we had projected growth in excess of 6%. We now see 2.3%. So we're seeing an enormous economic impact just in the aggregate growth numbers across Asia, but also, of course, in the impact on subsegments within individual countries.
So ADB projected that the Indonesian economy will grow for about 2.5% for 2020.
That's correct, yes. That's our most recent projection.
Okay, so next question, with more than a third of the global population at the moment are being placed on lockdown, how long will it take in ADB's point of view for the economy to bounce back after this pandemic is over?
Well, again, what I would emphasize is that we are dealing with an unprecedented situation in which there's a very, very high degree of uncertainty. And so we don't know is unfortunately the really honest answer to the question of how long will it take to get back to normal. And we also know that there may be a new normal, not an old normal. And so the absolute critical thing, and I think the thing that's important for governments to do, and certainly the thing that we're doing in partnership with governments, is it isn't possible in this environment to wait for complete clarity in terms of what the future looks like. In these sorts of dynamic crisis situations, there's a real premium on action. And we're trying to take proactive action at the ADB, and I know the government of Indonesia is as well.
And how about 2021? If you said earlier that, for 2020, ADB projected that the Indonesian economy will grow for about 2.5%. How about 2021? Will it bounce back?
Yeah, certainly our expectation is that the economic growth will return. So our projections for 2021 are a return to 5% growth for Indonesia. What I would emphasize there, of course, is that the key challenge is that the very things that are required to manage the health crisis also immediately have an economic impact. And so the broad trajectory that we see both in Indonesia and across the region, and in fact across the world, is tremendous near-term economic cost. But then a return to growth and a return to a more normal world. Absolutely essential to that process, of course, is government action. And the government of Indonesia has announced some significant measures. And just yesterday at the ADB, we announced a large assistance package, $1.5 billion lending facility for the government of Indonesia in order to support its actions. That return to growth will really be driven in significant part by the ability of governments to address the costs and impacts of this crisis. So that will be enormously important as we move forward.